Today, we dive into this week's top stories, how they were made, and what's new. This is Studio G's magazine, and it starts right now. Welcome to today's edition of Studio G's magazine. I'm your host for this week, Alyssa Stein. Joining me today are Mandy Massa, who gave us some summer safety tips to think about, Dina Banning, who shows us how we can protect ourselves here on campus, and Sherelle Moore, who told us the story of one man's journey living on the streets. We begin today with one man's struggle on the streets. Sherelle Moore spoke with a local Las Vegas man who is getting a new start.
My name is Percy Lee Sears. I'm 47 and I became homeless. When I was coming up, I was raised up on a farm on a big old plantation. I've been homeless now for like about 20-some years now or more.
Percy lived in many places, including cemeteries, abandoned homes, churches, and tents in the deserts.
Why'd you like living out here?
Because it was peaceful and quiet out here. I ain't had to worry about looking over my back, worrying about somebody doing something to me until they destroyed my tent, destroyed the tent I was living in, my home. This is where my tent used to sit at right here, and I had my bags of clothes behind it. I had some of my clothes and my spreads and stuff inside the tent. I had my barbecue pit right there.
Living life on the streets of Las Vegas has not been easy for this man, but he's come up with a way to earn a little extra cash.
I'd cut their yard, trim bushes, whatever needed to be done. Hustling doing yards and stuff, picking cans and going in dumpsters and stuff, getting recycling out the dumpsters and stuff for money to survive off. I go around and ask people, and other people tell other people how good I work.
There are many challenges Percy faces living life without a permanent place to stay.
A lot of challenges, like I have to be aware and watch who follow me, make sure I don't get into competition with some of the other homeless people. It's really hard being homeless when you make everybody turn their back against you when you're out there doing wrong.
Even through all of his trials, there is still hope for the future.
They approved my SSI now, so I can get me a place to stay and live now, so I can be able to get my own place and support myself and start my life over again. I just got to get my life back correct.
For Studio G, I'm Sherelle Moore.
Sherelle, that was such a touching story. How did you find out about this?
Well, Percy, he actually cleans my house. Mm-hmm. My stepdad met him, and then he just kind of hired him to do some of the yard work around my neighborhood. He does our bushes, and he trims our trees, and he does a lot of stuff around our house.
Did you know while he was cleaning your house that he was homeless, or?
I actually didn't know that he was homeless until my stepfather told me. He goes and picks him up from where he lives right now. He lives a little bit behind the Fiesta. So he goes and picks him up, and then he brings him to our house, and he gives him about $30 just to do some of the yard work. I didn't know he was homeless until my stepfather told me, though.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know.
He's an amazing, nice guy, and he's trying at least. You're telling us that he is trying just to go around and help everyone, and he doesn't mean to be on the streets, but at least no one's bothering him.
Exactly. What I like about him is that even though he is in this horrible situation, he's doing something to get out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what's the most important thing.
So speaking of getting out, in the package, he said that his application was approved, that he can have housing now. Can you explain what program that is, what the process
So
was
the government is now giving him a check, so that way he can save up and get somewhere to live, which is really good and everything.
Wow.
He's approved because it's proving that he's working. He's doing stuff to get off the streets. He doesn't want to be there anymore.
Did he tell you exactly how he winded up on the streets? Was there?
He was just in a bad situation. His wife left him. His family left him.
Oh, that's so sad.
20 years ago, and he just had nowhere to stay. His wife took the house and the kids. He lost his job.
Oh, wow.
Was that all here in Las Vegas?
It was all here in Las Vegas, and he actually says he still sees his kids sometimes. They're like in college now because they're older.
Oh, wow.
And he's still struggling. That's, I mean, that's crazy that you can have, you know, I don't think anyone actually expects to ever be homeless, but the fact that like you have a family and then one day that's all
And then one day
taken,
they just like leave.
it's gone. I mean, I could never imagine that.
Where does he find his jobs?
He actually, he knows people, so pretty much people, they just hear like the work that he does. He does a really good job. Like my bushes are always like perfectly like neat and everything. So he gets the jobs from like other people that he hears about. And they like tell him like, oh, this man does a really good job. Why don't you let him like come clean your house and everything? Like he's homeless, but he works.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, he's a hard
He's a
worker,
hard
and
worker.
I mean, hopefully, I hope he isn't homeless anymore. But thank you for sharing that amazing story. And coming up after the break, we'll talk about how to stay safe on college campuses.
My show is called Window on the Middle East, and it deals with all the issues that deal with the Middle East. Middle East is a very important part of the world. I grew up in America, and yet I'm from the Middle East. It's a commoner's viewpoint based on experience as well as scholarship. My name is Shervin Mashuri. I'm the host of the talk show Window on the Middle East at the rebelhd2.com.
The name of my show is called Perfect Music Radio. The music that I play is pop music, alternative music, a little bit of R&B, and just a drop of hip hop. Giving information about what's going on in today's society, technology, entertainment, not just in the community, but outside of the community. You're listening to Perfect Music Radio with me, Lily, right here on 91.5, the Rebel HD2.
A program right here on campus is teaching women how to protect themselves against potential attackers. Reporter Dina Banning got the scoop.
The UNLV Police Department is making strides to combat sexual assault on college campuses. Sergeant Denise Murphy leads classes of women in self-defense and explains these concerns.
Self-defense is 90% mental and only 10% physical. The whole reason for this is because we know that there's sexual assault that's occurring out there. At UNLV, our whole goal is victim-centered, focused.
UNLV staff Anna Toma questions her safety when leaving work and walking to her car at night.
There's a lot of crime, not just around the valley, especially around kind of UNLV, just even the area can get kind of scary sometimes.
Just pay attention to your surroundings. If you think somebody's following you, the best thing to do is, while you're at a distance, turn around and face that person and say, "Are you following me?" Like that. And most of the time they're going to say, "Oh, that person's not going to make a good victim," and they'll go away.
So that's your concern. You're hoping that this class will
just equip me to be more prepared, to know what kind of is out there, and if I do happen to find myself in situations that are kind of scary and dangerous, to hopefully get out of it.
There's over 107 emergency call boxes throughout the campus that have the blue light on. Get to that emergency call box, press that button, and start yelling out, because it starts recording as soon as the button's pressed. Start yelling out, "I'm being chased," and which way you're going, so that we know.
To ensure that these self-defense moves do stay effective, they requested that we not record the class. But if you're interested in these self-defense classes, the next one is May 6th, and you can find out more information on UNLV's calendar. For Studio G, I'm Dina Banning.
That was such a cool story, Dina. I didn't know that we offer all of that on campus, and I'm always here late at night, And UNLV gets really, really scary late at night.
We're in a bad part of town, really. We are.
There's always random people here on campus too, and I mean,
You see a lot of like homeless people on campus.
yeah,
And at night it can be frightening.
And it's just like really dark and everything, especially if you're walking on the dark side with all the trees.
the dark side, it is.
And you parked all the way in
That place
Tropicana.
is dark during the day, so at night I wouldn't want to be over
Little
there.
crevices are scary then also, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea that we offer this, and 137 call boxes. What?
It's 107.
Oh, 107. I thought it said
107 is
37. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
though.
It's actually, honestly, you see them there. They have a little blue flashing light.
Yeah.
Right, but you walk past them every day. If I think somebody was going to attack me, chasing me, I don't think I would think, oh, the call box. But
I never
another
thought
thing
of
she
that.
said actually, which was great advice, Sergeant Murphy suggested, the best thing to do is to run to the most populated and highly lit place possible. She said that we have gas stations on the corner of each end of campus, and so if you think somebody is chasing you, one, as she said in the story, when you're at a distance, turn around and say, "Are you following me?" You know, very stern, because you don't think about stuff like that.
I would have
Who
never
would
thought
think
of that.
to turn and say, "Are you following me?" But honestly, it just makes sense, right? That it's crazy.
I mean, yeah, I guess it makes sense because when I'm like feel uncomfortable, I look at my phone. I mean, I look down.
She said that's the most dangerous thing
Exactly.
you can do.
I've heard that's bad to be walking with your phone.
It's the worst because you're an obvious victim. You look like you're scared. You look timid. You look
Exactly.
It's actually funny because my whole family's from Brooklyn, and my mom always told me when you walk on the streets, doesn't matter where you are, put your head high. Don't look on your phone. Don't have a map and look like a little tourist anywhere you are. Just walk forward. Walk like you know where you're going, even if you have no idea, and just keep going, and people won't mess with you. You know. But like this, she said, to do it from a distance so that if they do say, oh yeah, I am following you, that you can run. You have that space between you, and that's why you confront it there in that moment.
I mean, I would have never thought of that. And honestly, like, I guess that is a really bad habit that I think everyone is guilty of looking down at their phones and like, oh, this is awkward, like someone's looking at me. I mean, I usually try to like call someone or whoever, but
she said the worst thing you can do is be on your phone because you're not paying attention to your surroundings.
Yeah.
So if you are calling someone, you're not paying attention to maybe something moving in the shadows a little bit or anything like that.
Did you actually get to take the self-defense class?
So I wasn't able to take the class because it filled up really quickly actually, and I didn't want to get in their way. So I came in, got my interviews early and spoke with them, and they said that they really asked me not to record any of the moves because they don't want potential predators to see these moves and then kind of know how to combat them. And then these women aren't equipped at the end, you know? So it's their safety, which is most important.
Did they get to teach you any of the moves?
No, I didn't stay for all of it. No, unfortunately not.
But there's a
she
class
did
coming up, right?
Yeah, it's May 6th. And she said that women's bodies and men's bodies are so different and that this class is equipped for women to use their bodies as much as possible to their strengths on their bodies, like, you know, our lower body, stuff like that.
Well, I hope maybe we can all take one together next, right?
Yeah, May 6th. Let's do it.
May 6th. Why not?
We have to sign up quickly, though.
We will then.
On UNLV's calendar.
When we come back, reporter Mandy Massa gives us a few safety tips to remember over summer.
Sunday evening jazz. I mainly play a lot of contemporary jazz music from the 1960s up until about 2012, 2013. When I go on, just explain who it was, the name of the song, the name of the artist, maybe the name of the album, their career. I just hope that everybody enjoys it and appreciate it for the kind of music it is and how great it is. My name is Sam and I host Sunday Evening Jazz on the rebelhd2.com.
Through our events, we promote that we are a national service fraternity. We do service to our campus, to our community, to our college, and to our nation as participating citizens. Our cardinal principles are leadership, friendship, and service. and that you can have a great time helping out your local community and your college. We are the Alpha Zeta Upsilon chapter of Alpha Phi Omega, a national co-ed service fraternity.
Thanks for staying with us. Staying safe on campus is important, but safety doesn't stop once you reach your vehicle. Reporter Mandy Massa reminds us how fast the inside of a vehicle can heat up and what that means for a life.
Losing a child, it's the worst thing in the world. It's unbearable. You know, he should be 20 right now.
Jody Esposito is talking about her son Michael, who passed away in 2001 at the age of 5 after getting into the family's car while playing hide and seek.
He unlocked the car, got in to the trunk through the back seat because the seat folded down, but once the seat folded back up, it locked, and there was no trunk release in the trunk.
Esposito is now on a mission to educate parents of the dangers she knows all too well. Today, health officials and first responders gave us a first-hand look at what a rescue like this looks like. Director of Safe Kids, Jeannie Marsala, says first responders are getting a call just like this at least once a day during the summer months.
It's not okay even to leave your car running with the air conditioning on and leaving your car unattended when you run inside a store to get your dry cleaning or something like that.
Marsala says on an average day, the temperature inside of a car rises 2 degrees per minute. This car you see here already 132 degrees in just 20 minutes, and that's with the outside temperature being only 67 degrees. Marsala says a child in this car could die in just 10 minutes.
Once a child's core temperature becomes 107 degrees, that is incompatible with life. Prior to that, when they reach about 104, 105, there's going to be no oxygen to the brain. They are going to start heat stroke, go into cardiac arrest, where all the organs start to shut down.
Safe Kids Clark County suggests leaving a cell phone or a bag in the back seat as a reminder to check before exiting the vehicle. And children aren't the only ones to be concerned about. Leaving a pet in the back seat can lead to harmful effects just as quickly and as devastating. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Mandy Massa.
That was an insanely touching story. And here today, we just found out it's 90 degrees outside right now in Las Vegas.
It is getting, it's getting very hot. And I'm sure you guys all, even for us being in the car, like getting into the car, initially before it's on, it's just like you take that breath and it's just so hot. And and you saw it was only 67 degrees and it got up to 133. So I have no idea what it would get up to inside of a car.
Oh, it's miserable here in Las Vegas Valley. As soon as we open that car, like you just said, it's like a heat wave, just
like a sauna,
smashes at you. Yeah. It's horrible.
And little lungs, you know, whether it be a pet or, you know, a child, it's worse for them.
And 2 degrees per minute? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, I had no idea.
Quickly.
And we were talking about one of your friends that this happened to. Her keys got locked
accidentally.
In her car.
And it was, when she told me, about 4 minutes, and they had to bash the window because they could see, it's sad, but they could see his eyes, you know, starting to shut. And
within 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm, 4 minutes. And this was, you know, in the middle of summer, but...
Well, in the middle of summer when it's 110 degrees out, it can easily get to 150 in that car so quickly. It's like a sauna. I spoke with another detective at the UNLV Police Department, and he said that they got a call because this woman, it was a complete accident. She was just trying to rush into the building, and she left her keys and her child in the car, closed the door, called them, didn't know what to do, was so frantic. She was freaking out. They came and they're like, we need to break the window. She's like, please get my child out. And they broke the window, and then the child, thank goodness, survived. But they also said that he was so flushed and he looked like he was getting ready.
Stroke
in
the
second. We talk about accidental,
really
but what is more important, and I think why they did that demonstration, is because there are, you know, parents or, you know, leaving your animal, you think, I'm just going to run into the gas station really quick. It's just going to be for 2 minutes. And that's why they had that demonstration. They wanted people to see that 2 minutes, it's too long.
Because it shows you how fast it can happen.
Yeah, you just
and
can't
especially
do it.
just like animals, they have obviously fur. They're way hotter than us. I mean,
exactly. They don't
burn up,
sweat.
and they don't sweat properly, so they burn up as just, I would believe, twice as fast than children.
Yeah,
it's just horrible. I would never lock, even if you roll down the windows. I still don't think that's a good idea at all.
No, like it's crazy.
This Vegas heat, it's too dry, and it's way too hot.
It's dangerous too, just in general. Even if it's winter, leaving you know, a pet or especially a child.
Anyone you love unintended, like you should not leave them in a car.
Last year, 30 children died in hot cars. Last year alone. Think of all the poor children, you know?
And what she told me, Jeannie Marsala from Safe Kids was telling me that they do these demonstrations and they give these tips out because, and I don't know how I feel about this I have a 2-year-old, so I don't know how I feel about this, but she says that people forget that their children or pets are in the back seat, and that's why she told me, she gave me this list of tips: leave your cell phone, leave your bag, so that you check. And I don't really know how I feel about that.
You can remember your cell phone or your purse, but you can't remember your child or your dog.
I don't really have an off switch for being a mother, you know, so if he's not in the back seat, I know where he is.
Yeah,
but
at all
she
times.
says that that's what, out of those cases that she told me, she's the one that gave me the 30 statistic, is that their story was that they forgot. They didn't know that it was, but I mean,
the law needs to be tightened on that.
Yes, yes, we were talking about that. It's only a misdemeanor if, you know, say someone sees a child or a pet in the back seat.
And they call the police, then it's only
just
a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Well, everyone needs to be very aware that it is getting very hot here in the Vegas Valley, and please don't leave your children or dogs in cars. Pretty please. Thanks. Coming up, robots and drones, oh my. I got a first-hand look at some of the new technologies hitting our campus. You won't want to miss it.
I used to have to do things, bad things, just to get by.
I was scared to come home sometimes. The gang knew where I lived.
Mommy said she couldn't afford it, but I want to be a singer when I grow up. I like singing.
I'm not afraid anymore. My life has changed.
My dreams are coming true!
I realize now that my world is so much bigger.
Thanks for staying with us. UNLV can now add robotics and drones to their list of teaching tools at the School of Engineering. Check it out.
Here at UNLV, it's about getting students acquainted with this technology so that they can actually become leaders of the technology.
Last week, UNLV and the city of Las Vegas were united in celebration for the grand opening of the new Drones in Autonomous Systems Lab.
Our goal is to have a place where we not only inspire and train young minds in this area, but create new knowledge, technologies, and industries based on these technologies and young minds. We want this to be the intellectual and entrepreneurial center of the burgeoning UAS industry in this region.
Put on by the UNLV School of Engineering, the opening commencement took place across the street in the Clark County Library Amphitheater. After the opening presentations, attendees got the chance to tour the new lab, but also a sneak peek of the current drones and robotics students are working on.
One thing that our team has done is we've attached sensors to the body of a Tai Chi master, and while he practiced, Jamie was able to pick up on that and learn those skills.
The students are hard at work for the DARPA Robotics Challenge. DARPA standing for Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
I'm very interested to see how robots like Hugo might be able to assist in the future to address critical public safety challenges.
The main challenge for these robots is to go through this course behind me without any human help. Team DRC Hubo is led by Professor Paul O.
I'm hoping you're going to come back another time because my lab is going to look more like Tony Stark's.
With this lab and the research going on, Dr. O hopes to make UNLV a rising in the research of drones and robotics. So, who wants a robot?
I want a robot. I do.
It was so cool to check all of that out. I had no idea that we had that kind of technology here at UNLV. And
they're like the best too, one of the best.
Right? Oh yeah, and they're going to the DARPA Robotics Challenge, which takes place in Pomona, California, and they have 34 days until they're going. And like if you guys saw DRC Hubo, he was the one that was like on the ground, moving around. He has to go through the course that I showed without any human contact.
Yeah, so like how does that work? No one's like on the controls or anything, like working like the robot?
Well, yes and no. I believe from what John Daniels told me that they do control him robotically, like through like, it's kind of like a video game. But at one point, let's say like they can't get to that, the robot still has to know what he's doing, or it's doing, I should say. And like it has to be able to go through like kind of if we had some kind of attack or natural disaster and going into unsafe zones that humans can't get into, there's potential harm, and somehow like break down the door and see the exit and like move objects without obviously any human help. So it's really, really
Those
cool.
robots are that smart. That's like amazing.
Yeah, and that's Dr. O, he made a comment. He was like, oh yeah, this is my 0.5 lab, and then when you come back it's gonna be like 3.0, like Tony Stark. And I was like, if we have like an Iron Man running around here, that'd be great. It was really cool.
I love that I like to get a look at all the different departments on campus, because we have no idea, we're over here and we know we have a great program, but I like to get a look at the great programs that
other people
How did you even hear about it?
Yeah.
Another fellow student, actually, I had no idea, which apparently it's all over UNLV's website because it is a really big deal.
It's huge.
And he asked if I wanted to go and check it out, and it was, phenomenal. I had no idea, like, the technology, and they do a lot of consumer products too. They're talking about working with MGM properties, and they're gonna have these robots that like greet guests and like will take their luggage to their room and stuff like that.
Life size, or
yeah, it was pretty.
Look like
it was
humans?
kind of like, not look like humans. That would be a little. That would be kind of creepy. But it was kind of cool. It at one point I was dancing with a robot.
I really wish they would have seen that. I'm really disappointed.
They dance?
Yeah, it was just like
So
one of
wait,
those.
so do they
Slow
have
dance?
to?
No,
do they
slow.
have to learn, like how to do these things, or do they have sensors
Is
on
it
their
like
body
programmed in them?
Yeah, both of those actually. One of the robots in the story I did, he like learned from a Tai Chi master, and he like had sensors on him, the Tai Chi master, and like just learned how to do it. I don't know, it was so cool, like recorded all of his motions that he was able to show.
You know what, it's interesting. One of my friends, he's a computer science major and an engineering major, and he said that that they're like the robots are learning how to play chess, and they're playing with people, and they're learning their moves. And like if 10 robots, they're all connected, are playing all around the world, they're learning from 10 people and all learning from all of those other people, and that's how they're learning their skills.
So they just keep getting smarter.
Exactly.
Robots
they
are
learn
getting
from humans and they get smarter.
Hopefully we can get robots to start doing our homework too. Finals are coming up, so I'll get a robot to do it. Those were our top stories from this past week. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday for our final week of shows this season. Thanks for joining us.